Recording. We'll continue our discussion on Prabhupada purports. This chapter is very interesting. We'll see how it is connected. So, first two chapters, Sukadeva Goswami explained how we should meditate on the Lord. This is the first aspect in bhakti. There are different three sections in this second canto which are dealing with sadhana tattva. And sadhana, what is the first thing? We have to learn how to meditate on the Lord. Second is when we start meditating and understanding about Him, when we hear about Him, we start developing faith. Faith is manifested as enthusiasm. And then that is next third and fourth chapter. And then we have fifth to 10th chapter is uh, we are trying to understand and glorify the Lord. That is the third aspect. And this is the same thing in the when a pure devotee is remembering the Lord all the time. And second aspect is when he remembers, he feels very happy, enthusiastic. And third thing is he always meditating on the explaining and explain the past time. So this is how the three sections. So first two chapters is very clear. First is meditating on the Virat Rupa form, and second is then meditating on the Paramatma form. Of course, in these two chapters only, Sukadeva Goswami gives the conclusion. What is the person who is living his body should do? He should remember, meditate, and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all the three process, most important is chanting the holy name. Tasmat Sarva. Tasmat Sarvatmana Rajan. Now he has concluded, and then he understood that it is not very clear still. Even though he gave the conclusion in second chapter, the last two verses of second chapter, it is quite clear for uh, very clear. These two chapter. Tasmat Sarvatmana Rajan, Hare Sarvatra Sarvada, Shrotavya Kirtavyascha, Smartavyo Bhagavan Nina. This is the conclusion we gave in the second, and the next shloka also same. Pibantiye Bhagavat Atmanasatam. So he says those who drink through the oral consumption fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment and thus go back to Godhead. So this is the polluted aim. What is that? To enjoy in this material world. So this is what is called Bhava Roga. Whoever is there in this material world, they have this Bhava Roga, the polluted aim of life. What is that? To enjoy. And this is what is propagated. Now, after this, then again Sukadeva Goswami continues. He says that Maharaj, as you have inquired with me as a duty of intelligent who is Dashud, I have answered you. So he has completed the answer what Parikshit Maharaj gave. After that, he start telling another things because he knows it will not be clear for many hours. Once you dare to say, okay, done, I'll sit and chant. But that is not possible. Why? Because there is a polluted desire, which we have seen in the last shloka of the last second chapter. What is polluted aim of life as material enjoyment? And that is okay to fulfill that. They say, no, no, I still have this desire. I cannot give it up. And what they do, they worship Lord Brahma or Brihaspati, and then who want to have powerful sex life, worship Indra, Progeny, worship Prajapatis, Durga, this, that. Big list of all the worships are given. And he says that if you want to have ojas, you want to have this, one should worship Vishnu for advancement in knowledge, all these things. And then he says, the last loka is in this section, Akama Sarvakamava Mokshamada. Okay, even if you have material polluted intelligence to enjoy in this material world, better do with Krishna. Akama Sarvakamava Mokshamada Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. You try to do Bhakti Yoga only. No need to do any other things, even if you have material desires. But only thing is whether Krishna will fulfill or not, that is a different point. Of course, Krishna gives, but when we don't want that time, he gives. That is the point here. Anyway, then uh, then he says all the different kinds of worshippers of multitude demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction, unflinchingly fixed upon the supreme personality of Godhead, only by the association of pure devotees. Okay, even if you want to do Tivra Bhakti, that is possible only by the association of devotees. That is the conclusion. And then he says this transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves of whirlpool of material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachments and being transcendental. It is approved by authorities who could fail to be attracted. So he's just asking how it is not possible people will get not attracted to such thing because what will this knowledge do? So whatever Bhagavatam we are discussing, what this knowledge, it will result in complete suspension of waves of whirlpool of material words. We are caught up in the waves of morning one mode, evening one mode, night one mode. Like that, we have different modes. Not only in one time only, we will be affected by all the three modes in a different ways. We are all caught in that way. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachments and being transcendental. So these are the two aspects for that. It is free from material attachments and it is also transcendental. Now, this is the problem. Problem is the polluted desire to enjoy, and then the solution is transcendental knowledge. Unless we get this knowledge, we cannot give up that polluted. That means what? The pollution is there at the level of buddhi. Buddhi is polluted. The desires are there in manas, but because buddhi is also filled with lust, that's why it is not able to help it. It is only trying to fulfill the desires of manas. Like manas cannot function. Manas is only desiring. Buddhi has the function. It is an active mind. It functions, and this buddhi, what it does, if it is polluted, it cannot, it just execute whatever manas says. But it is filled with this transcendental knowledge. It will help us to overcome the temptations and slowly, this is that's why our process is called Buddhi Yoga. We are working on our Buddhi. If that is strong, it will control all the lower desires and we can come out of this whirlpool of material modes. That's what it is explained. And he completes his uh, this is this is what Sukadeva Goswami. Now Sonaka Rishis, they start expressing their enthusiasm. They say, yes, this is quite good. They say, they say this is a very nice thing to hear. Now, then they will start with another section where uh, Saunaka Drishis, they express their enthusiasm about how they feel of this whole thing, what they are hearing. And this is what is the second and third and fourth chapter, the enthusiasm of one who hears about Krishna. So what will happen to them? Then he first glorifies, in the first two shlokas, he glorifies Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. But he asks a question. O son of Vasudev, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is highly learned and able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire from him? And then he says that please continue to explain such topics to us because we are eager to hear. Again, this is what is the enthusiasm to hear. And besides that, topics which result in discussion of Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees. This is very important. And then next, they say that they glorify Parikshit Maharaj here, Savai Bhagavato Raja. So he says Parikshit Maharaj from the childhood only. We have discussed this. पाण्डवयो महारथः बालक्रीडाङ्कैः क्रीडान् कृष्णक्रीडां यत् आददे. This is what is Parikshit Maharaj. And then for Sukadeva Goswami, this is was fully in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vyasudev, sorry, son of Vasudev. So there must be having discussion of Lord Krishna only between them. So we want to hear about what they are discussing. And then they give some other important conclusions. These are very, very important understandings. This is what is the purpose of life is. And then they start with how short life is. Ayur harati vaipumsam udhyannastam channaso tasyate kshanonita uttama shloka vatya. So they started explaining how risky if we are wasting our life, because every rising and setting of the sun, from last class we had Friday till Monday, our lifespan has reduced. And this is a very important shloka to remember also. Ayur harati vaipumsam. Ayur is harati. Every udhyannastam channa. So every rising and setting of the sun. Tasyarthe kshanonita uttam. So except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics about personality of God, other this it is just wasting the time. Then onwards they will explain why this body is meant for. They said it is the human's body is given for certain purpose. If you don't utilize it for that purpose, then what they are compared to? Tarava kim na jivanti, brishta kim na susanti, na kadanti na mehanti, kim gavo prashvapara. Is do the trees not live? Do the bellows of blacksmith not breathe? All around us. Do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? The animals also doing it. What is the difference? And it says Savidvara Hoshtrakarai Samsita Purusha Purusha Nahat Karnavutopita Jatunagadaha. He says, why are you so much? Okay, I am getting name and fame. He says, what name and fame? If we are glorified, the people who are of this category, who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, they glorify people with that category. So what is the value of their glorification? We should be a little more careful if we are getting glorification from such people. Array, I am also living like them. That's why they are glorifying me. No, men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer for the evils. The people of this category will glorify of the people of that category. That is the point. And is a below bate vikramaani na srinvata karna puto inarasya jiha jihva sati daru durke vasuta na chopya gayata urugayagata. He says, oh, one who is not listening to the message about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead and has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs of the Lord is to be considered to possess. His ear holes are like the snare of the of snakes, and the tongue is that of a frog. And then we have only few shlokas in this chapter. It's a small chapter, 25. Then he says that Bara Param Patta Kirita Jushtam. So this shloka says the upper portion of the body, though crowned with a silk turban, is only a heavy burden if not bowed down before the personality of God. The more you have heavy, the more it will drown fast. And the hands that decorate with glittering bangles are like those of a dead man if not engaged in the service of personality of Godhead. And then next is it says that the eyes which do not look at the symbolic representation of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his name, form, qualities. Yeah, from this we have to discuss. We have three more shlokas. This chapter is done. But next chapter is also very interesting because next chapter is the Mangalacharan of Sukadeva Goswami. He didn't offer any prayers before starting Bhagavatam because he was so ecstatic hearing Parikshit Maharaj's question. He directly started only. The next chapter it starts. But before that, we'll just complete. There is some more interesting points that are mentioned here. This is a very important mm, understanding we need to have that the I'll try to explain some important concept about how to develop this ego properly. Then what happens? Then we will try to serve also in that way. If our ego is not properly developed, maybe tomorrow we can discuss, and then of course we need to Janmashtami. Tomorrow we will take something. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we will try to discuss a little on Janmashtami. And then we prepare. Of course, evening I am taking from 4 to 5 also. And tomorrow and after tomorrow also we will discuss because sixth and fifth and sixth. Now, this is very interesting. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representation of the personality of God Vishnu, his form, name, qualities, etc., are like those painted on the plumes of a peacock. And the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. Now, this is nice, very huge purport. Purposes especially for householder devotees. The path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of spiritual master, must install deities of Vishnu. So Prabhupada gives all the Salagram, Shila, everything. This says they are recommended in Vishnu Tantra or Puranas, and one should worship deity with one's family following the directions and regulations of Archavidhi. Any member of the family who is about 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and all the members of household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord, beginning from morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangalarti, Nirajana, Archana, Puja, Kirtana, Shringara, Bhoga Vaikali, Sandhya Arti, Partha, Bhoga at night. Purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for neophyte devotees. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the Archana process practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is guarantee way for attaining spiritual perfection. Just hearing the classes is not sufficient. We have to do some service also for the Lord deities personally. That will very much help. That's what Prabhupada is telling. Simply theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for neophyte. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas Archana process is practical. We need to hear, apply the knowledge. Then we will grow very fast. And that is guarantee way for attainment of spiritual perfections. If you don't have deities, you have to at one day I'm sorry, there is some internet issues. Every time it is happening. And to change our internet service providers. They're not giving proper service. It is 10 Mbps, but it is not giving 2 or 3 also. Anyway, the training of this is very important. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress on the path back home, back to God. One should not become a pseudo spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family expenditure. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciples from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master, and another verses is described. Description reads: Sri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shringara Mandir Manjanado Yuktasya Bhaktasya Niyanjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. This is a very nice point Prabhupada is telling. Here, expert spiritual master can also be Siksha Guru. Now, whoever is helping us to practice nicely, it is all our spiritual masters. With their help, we can make progress. Because in ISKCON, because it's a institution, that's why spiritual master will not get personal time, will not get personal time of spiritual master. What we have to do, we have to take inspiration from other senior devotees and try to progress because they also made quite a good progress in their spiritual life. We can take help of some devotees, some seniors. To some extent, they will help, and we have so many senior devotees like that who are going to help. Because Siksha Guru is not, uh, he should also be at the level of Diksha Guru. There is no difference between Siksha and Guru, Diksha Guru. We may not immediately get, but we are having so many devotees in ISKCON who are, and of course, another important caution is we should not take guidance from anywhere and everywhere. We should see whether this person is in line with what my spiritual master is speaking, or we have to accept some of the senior disciples of the same spiritual master and take guidance and try to make progress. We cannot independently do it. We need always help. If we try to independently progress, you say, okay, I'll hear some lectures and make progress. It won't happen. We'll always make mistakes and it will not be sufficient also. After some level, we always need some guidance. Somebody should at least there should be guidance in the lectures. I mean, personally, we may not need some answers, but we will have to know what exactly I need to do in life properly in every situation. That is why we need a very expert, talented spiritual master who will guide us properly. Without guidance, we will always end up in making mistakes and it will be very difficult. So even like now when you are hearing lectures, we need to have very few speakers whom we hear regularly, who more feel inspired and who are helping us in our means their lecture should help in our spiritual life. If you are hearing from many speakers, it's a confusion because everybody has their own viewpoint and there will be confusions. Better is we stick, you can have maximum 3 or 4. Others also we can hear, but these are the speakers we should regularly hear. Prabhupada, spiritual master, some 1, 2, 3 devotees who are speaking the same thing. That is also another. They should be in line. Their conclusion should be pure devotional conclusions. Then we'll not have problem. If you hear from everybody and anyone, their conclusions may contradict, and then there is a confusion for us. Then sometimes devotees call and ask, Prabhuji, this is told in this class, and you are telling like this. Then that is a problem. We should we should be very very focused to make progress in spiritual life. To be focused means what? To be focused in our hearing also. We should be very focused. We should know, okay, these people whom I am hearing, they have pure devotional conclusion. If I hear, then I'll be benefited. So this type of understanding should be very, very. Otherwise, there are uh, so many tendencies that come because if we are the Shastra Shraddha should be very, very strongly established, and that is possible only when we are having a proper hearing process. Of course, you are all hearing in the morning, that is safe, and most of your hearing will complete in the morning. And evening also, you should choose, or when you are hearing other time in the daytime, you should be very careful and very choosy. It is not offense that, oh, Broji, I used to hear from him, I stopped, I was hearing from him. It's not an offense. Sometimes in your temple, there will be 3 day seminar from some devotees. And if you are not very inspired and if you are not going, it's not offense. Don't think, okay, I have to compulsory go, it is offense. No, it's not offense. You can respect the devotee. You can attend Bhagavatam class if he gives. You need not go for seminar if you are not inspired. And sometimes it is not needed also. You may not need, uh, because you already know, have some idea of it, you can continue to practice. It's not compulsory that we have to hear everybody. And no, we have to hear from our spiritual master and whoever is inspiring for us to progress in spiritual life, that person we can hear. But hearing is compulsory. That I am not saying. I am telling hearing is compulsory, but we can be choosing hearing. Okay, this is what I wanted somebody to ask this question. The question is if because Prabhupada very clearly told in this purport that you all should install deities and that is compulsory because just hearing won't work. We also have to apply in practice. Now, the question is family situation in such a way one is not able to install deities at home. If you are not able to install deities at home, go to temple and do some service to the deities. Do some backup service, do some cooking service. At least some practical service we should to do deities. Or if some senior devotee, then you are going for some satsang in their house, they have deities. You can do something for that deities. When you go for satsang, if they have arti, you can just ask, can you do arti or some cleaning service, some cooking service, something we should do for the deities wherever we are. Some weekly once, twice in the temple, or some even cleaning for the deities also, the cleaning in the altar, cleaning the vessels of the Lord, that will also work. But that service should be there. If I am not able to do, you see who is able to where you can do. You should take an opportunity. Also, even photos also you keep and do arti for the photos, offer boga for the photos. That will also do. If some extreme cases, if you are at least you can start with the photos. You can do agarbatti, deep, and flowers for the photos. Also. It will also work, and also you can offer boga and offer to the photos. That will also do. If the date is not possible for everyone, it may not be possible. And so the question, keep boga one time only for deities, is it offense? You give one time boga, morning you give some fruits, evening you can give fruits or milk. And that's like 3 times if you give. One time you can give cooked boga, like rice, dal, sabji. But other 2 times you can give some fruit, just some little fruit. Evening also you can offer something. So at least 3 times is offering is, if you have deities, you should offer at least 2 times, but 3 times is good. One time aarti, that is the basic minimum you can offer. And it's not very difficult. Even if you are traveling, also you can purchase some fruits. If you are not able to carry the deities, take the photo of the deities and offer to the photo. That will also do. Wherever you are going, you have your deities, you are not able to carry some places. If you are going Mayapur, Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, some dham, you carry the deities and you need not do any offering much arti also. You just have the deities, change the water, put some fruit and go for your parikrama. Done. Otherwise, if you have deities at home, daily doing, giving them abhishekam, 5 minutes job. Change the dress, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, max 15 minutes. That is very good standard. Every day giving them bathing, every day changing their clothes, and doing arati, keeping some bhoga is the very good standard. This is what I saw from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Deities means every day he does this. He has deities, every day he does abhishek. For us, it takes 15 minutes. I also do every day abhishekam for the deities. I calculate 15 20 minutes. You can undress them, do nice abhishekam with water, Gangajal, and Tulsi. That's all. And rose water you can add to it. You have some scented water for the Lord for abhishekam. Change the dress, keep. And if you add little jewelry, little shringar, it will take 45 minutes to 1 hour. If you don't have much time, but 15 20 minutes is sufficient. You need to just undress, keep them in the abhishekam tray, do abhishekam, keep them dress. It does not take much time. And Aarti 15 minutes. Half an hour, Lord is ready. He's just not taking much time also. And whatever dress you give, he will accept it. He will not demand like children. They'll say, I don't want this dress. And mother has to convince, no, wear this. And children have so many demands with the dress. Lord does not have. And he is just whatever you give, he will accept it. Yeah, whatever we are eating, we offer. That is not a problem. But if we are eating 2 3 times in a day, one time we are offering. We can better offer fruits in the morning and lunch you give and evening you offer something and make them rest. That will be the best standards. Not best standards, minimum standards. We have to offer them and we have to bathe and we have to make them rest also. Jagannath don't need, we will just bed. We have to keep them. And then we become more personal, and that's how we should grow our bhakti. When we learn to serve, maybe tomorrow I'll take the topic, very important topic, how to develop that. That's how we will identify ourselves. That's how we should grow our ego. Otherwise, will not be able to make much. It will remain theoretical only. To make that progress, now we need to develop that proper ego, and that comes when we are doing service only. Tomorrow I will explain it in more detail, but this is the standard which helps. Deity services are very helpful to overcome all our bad conditionings. We are very strongly conditioned. That's why we have these bodies. We want to overcome all our strong conditionings. Many things we know they are right, but we cannot do it because the conditionings don't allow us. When we start doing service to the deities, they will definitely help. We have to put our heart into that service, because I am not putting heart in it, but at least standards are maintained. So two things are there. We should be little ritualistic, sometimes helps, because as a ritual you start doing, but slowly you start developing heart for it. This is, yes, this is the Lord, he's. And because we do ritualistic, but after a long time passes, we start developing attachment for them. They are going to protect at the time of death only. At the time of death, whom we are going to remember, whom we have protected, then we can ask them, the whole life I served you, now you help me, I want to come to you and I want to continue your service. Then Lord will reciprocate, because I served them whole life. Now I can ask them, I want to continue your service. So next life also, keep me at your service only. Lord will say, okay. But for that, we have to do some service nicely. Lord will say, what did you do? You only did some time pass. And that's why we need to keep the standards. So bathing them and dressing them every day is very helpful. And we just do simple water bathing only. Many people do weekly once in 15 days, every Ekadasi. Yeah, that is there. But you make simple dress. You have simple dress and simple just 15, 20 minutes. They many of them they wake the Lord and they give offering. But we can add these things also. Abhishekam. It does not take. Only thing is you have to wake up early morning. That's the point. Yes. So Prabhupada's writing. See Vigraha is the Archana or a suitable worship from worshipable form of the Lord, and the disabled should be engaged in the worshipping of deity regularly by Shringara. Proper decoration and dressing, as also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleaning the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all this kindly and personally. He helps him gradually in realization of the transcendental name, form, etc. of the Lord. So this will help us in meditation also. How do we meditate on the form of Lord? If we are doing deity worship, then it is more easy to meditate on the form of Lord. Because in temple they go, they take darshan, and after 2 minutes they are bored. They want to do something else. We cannot stand for 5 hours and take darshan. When we have our deities, when we start doing service, at least we are looking at the form. Every day you do abhishekam, you are cleaning, dressing. Every day we are looking at that form. So slowly, slowly, that form will enter into our heart. If you are proper, it's attention engaged in the service of Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan, spiritual instructions from scriptures, can save the common man from hellish cinema attraction and rubbish sex songs broadcasted everywhere by radios. This is the only way. See, Prabhupada is so kind. He's giving such a nice things. For us to get free from this is the only thing. We have to do blessing of the Lord, decoration of the temple. We should do kir and we should is Bhagavad, what we are doing. At least hearing we are doing and kirtan we are doing. So we have to add these things also, everyday dressing, which will help us from hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere. Prabhupada only knows radio that, but the now what is coming is all this uh, internet and we have social media. Prabhupada did not even expect also it will go so bad. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord well dressed in well decorated, sanctified temple naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. And that is true also. If you go to temple and sit there and chant, you can see, especially you go to Mangalarti and chant, you'll see the quality of our chanting is so much different. We will feel so much inspired there. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of deities are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men, like kings and rich merchants, construct such temples under the direction of expert devotees of Lord, like the six Goswamis. And it is a duty of common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees. At least we should make a temple in our question is my daughter got deities from Vrindavan. Yeah. So one devotee is sharing that they got deities at home. So because the daughter insisted and they felt we are not initiated, we should not take. But as soon as the deities came, the whole environment of the house changed. That is true. How you give them the place, where you give the place, everything changes. And many devotees have this experience. And I have forcefully, not forcefully, I have told some devotees you should bring deities, and they brought immediately everything changed in their house. It is true. Prabhupada says one should visit all the sanctified places of pilgrimage, places and temples with uh, si- and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one should not visit. One should not visit all the sanctified places. And this is actually what is happening to Vrindavan now. So many lakhs of people are coming, but only one, sightseeing in mind. But one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of Lord and be guided by a proper man who knows the science. This is called Vraja. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in this way is as good as a standing tree condemned by the Lord not to. The moving tendency of human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas and thereby not being misled by atheistic propaganda of money making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters. We should not do business in the dham. It will be very detrimental for our spiritual life. We should not make money. People they do start doing business and all. That is very for their spiritual life. It is not good. They can make good money, but like we purchase a house, give it on rent. That is also not good. You want to do business, do any other city. Na, why Dham? Dham is meant to stay and do bhajan. That's all. No business there. Somebody will do it because we need some place to stay. But for us personally, who want to do pure devotional service, better is we should not take. We should not do ourselves. You want to do something, do service only in Dham. Dham is for service, other places for business. You want to do? You do business in some other place, make some big hotel, make some money, go to Dham, make some nice place, and give it for free for devotees. In that way, we can do service. So we have two more shlokas in this chapter. Because what happens if you do business in Dham, na? When we see Dham, we are not thinking of Krishna. We'll think of money only there. That is the problem. Who are born in that place, they do business, that's not a problem because they're born there only. They can need not go anywhere. They are already Krishna conscious. But for us from outside we go and do, that will be very risky, especially for spiritual life. It is not, it is very detrimental. We cannot do that quality of bhajan. That is the problem. Vrindavan is for bhajan. That's why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan with so many followers, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they said, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they said that we should not go to such places with so much crowd. It is a place for bhajan. It should go alone. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes back around Ankeli and he again goes with three people, two more assistants like that, Balbhadra Bhattacharya and one more assistant. So this is how Vrindavan is meant for. It is especially Vrindavan. It is not for making business, not good for our spiritual life. And there's two more. This is also a very heavy shloka. A person who is not at any time received the dust of the feet of Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. It looks that we say now we are not fanatic people, but some of the shlokas very clearly we are quite fanatic. We are saying, oh, he did not get dust from a pure devotee, dead body. This is what the shloka says. And a person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. These two shlokas are too heavy. So we'll see. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, the breathing of dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and attacks, such a dead body is called a ghost. Ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. Similarly, the ghost like non devotees, such a heavy thing, who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temple, create a fearful situations for the devotees at all times, and it is true also. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. That means that's the need. We need the dust of a pure devotee on our head. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement reception of the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotee who have also served another pure devotee. That is a way of pure disciplic succession or devotional parampara. And this is a very famous shloka of Maharaj Rahugana. That is true also. We were staying at one our place, our center, and we used to do offering. And whenever we offer, we do arti, and at least 3 times we give offering. And in between any item comes, we offer. Then the neighbor used to think, "Arey, whole day they are doing arti because for offering we ring the bell." And he used to be get so much offended. He said, "So many times you are doing in arti." He said, "We are not staying in temple, we are staying in this society. Why are you doing offering?" And then we had to vacate that place because we are ringing the bell every time offering. He's thinking we are doing arti whole day, 6 times arti, and he was very much upset. He's not any Christian or Muslim. He's a Hindu only. But for them, they cannot digest. They say there's all demonic people. And this is a famous shloka. Maharaj Ravana inquired from the great Saint Jadabharata as how he had attained such a liberated state of Paramahamsa. The answer to this Rahu Gana Itat Tapasana Yati Nache Jaya Niravad Niravapatnat Grihad by Nachannada sorry Nachandasanaiva Galagnisujai विना महत्पादरजोऽभिषेकम् न छन्दसा नैव जलाग्निसूर्यै विना महत्पादरजोभिषेकम्. So Rahugana tapasanayati. He says, O King Rahugana, the perfectional stage of devotional service or the Parahamsa stage of life cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. Vina Mahatpada Rajo Abhishekam. You need to do Abhishekam with the dust from the. It is never attained by tapasya. Na chandasa naiva jalagni shure. Never attained by tapasya. The Vedic worshipping processes, acceptance of the renounced order of life. Na chejaya nirapanda griha va. So, ne'er by renounced order of life, the discharge of duties as a grihadva, duties of householder, chanting of Chandasa means Vedic hymns, or performance of penances in the hot sun. Naiva Jalagni Shurai, or cold water. Jala Agni. Agni is hot and Jala is cool. So, what we can get by taking the dust from the devotee's feet, it is not even compared to tapasya. Jaya. This the Vedic worshippers acceptance, renouncance of life, discharge of household duties, chanting Vedic mantras, penances in hot or cold water. It is not even compared only. You can get so much, just take the dust of a pure devotee and touch the head. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure unconditional devotees. Why this is so important? Because this is changing the heart. Other process, na, they don't change the heart only. That is the problem. This processes, they will they will help us to free from our bad sanskaras. But the tendency to enjoy continue to remain even all these practices. But when we come to a pure devotee, take the dust on our lotus feet, immediately the tendency to enjoy this metal will go away. We'll get a desire to serve. That is the difference. And Prabhupada is explaining, in other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the proprietor of his pure, unconditional devotees, and as such, only the devotee can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, designated himself as Gopir Bhartor Padakamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa, or the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord who maintains the gopi damsels at Vrindavan. A pure devotee therefore never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of Lord's servant, and thus the Lord becomes pleased, and only then can the devotee relish the taste of the tulsi leaves stuck to his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found to become a great scholar of the Vedic literature, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotees. Tomorrow, I will take this one topic because today is less time. So, how to develop a proper relationship with spiritual master? This is a very important understanding how to develop this relation with a devotee, with a spiritual master, because that's what is making going to make us progress. We will complete this one more shloka. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the supreme whole, resembling the perfectional stage of worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees, and once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than the Lord directly. So the conclusion, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of a devotee than of the Lord directly, and by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. So this is what is happening, which does not happen with tapasya, na chandasa, na veda, all these things will not get, because this is what we want. What the natural attraction for the service of Lord will be revived. The tendency to enjoy will go and tendency to serve will go. I think two more shlokas. Certainly the heart. This is also tadasmasaram hridayam batedam yajjihva yajjihyamanair harinama dehai na vikriyeta yada vikaro netre jalam gatra ruheshu harshaha. So this is a very important verse. Tadasmasaram hridayam padedam yaggrihya namairharinama dehai na vikriyetadyata vikaro netram jalam gatra ruheshu. Certainly that heart, actually whole chapter we should, so many shlokas are there to be by heart in this chapter. From Akama Sarva Kamova and many Bara Kirita Jushtam, and before that also. There are so many shlokas to be memorized in this chapter. Very nice chapter. Certainly, that heart is steel framed, which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of Lord with concentration, does not change even when one displays such signs of transformation as tears in the eyes and ecstatic standing on the hairs on end. And he said, we should note that with proper. So this is very important. Once chanting, na, as soon as you say Krishna, tears should come from the ears. It is not coming means, so this is Saunaka Rishis are telling it is steel framed. Does not change even when displays such signs of transformation as tears in the eyes. So it is considered certainly that heart is steel framed. We should note with profit that in the first three chapters of second canto, a gradual progress of development of devotional service is being presented. In the first chapter, this is Prabhupada gives this whole summary of this second canto. The first chapter, the first step in devotional service for God consciousness by the process of hearing and chanting has been stressed. And a gross conception of personality of Godhead in his universal form from the beginning is recommended. But such a gross conception of God through the material manifestation of his energy, one is unable to spiritualize the mind and the sense is, and gradually concentrate the mind upon Lord Vishnu, the Supreme, who is present as the super soul in everyone's heart and everywhere, in every atom of the material universe. So this is the first two chapters. What is telling that in the beginning, what is recommended to meditate on the universal form? What is happen by such gross conception of God through the material manifestation of energy? One is enabled to spiritualize the mind and the senses and gradually concentrate his mind on the form of Vishnu. So, universal form meditation will spiritualize the senses and mind. And then he will be able to concentrate on Vishnu in everyone's heart, everywhere, in every atom of the material universe. The system of Panchopasana recommending five mental attitudes for the common man is also enacted for this purpose, namely gradual development, worship of Supreme that may be in the form of fire, electricity, the sun, that is Saurias, the sun, the mass of living beings, Lord Shiva, and at last impersonal Supreme, the personal representative of Lord Vishnu. So, first worship is gradually worship of this Supreme that may be in the form of fire, electricity. And of course, this is also Durga worship. The, they are called Shaktas. Then the sun god, Sauryas. Then mass of living beings is Ganapatyas. Then Lord Shiva. And then the impersonal super soul, the partial representation of Lord Vishnu. They are all nicely described in the second chapter, but in the third chapter, further development is prescribed after one has actually reached the stage of Vishnu worship or pure devotional service. The mature state of Vishnu worship is suggested here in relation to the change of heart. When we are worshipping Vishnu means our heart changed. Such a nice thing. All our hearts are changed. That's why we are worshipping. The whole process of spiritual currency, this is the most important thing. The whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of living being in the matter of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, a subordinate servant, which is his eternal constitutional position. Please remember this statement. If you whole second canto, if you want to remember some statement, the whole second canto, this is the statement we should always remember. The whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of living being in the matter of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord as subordinate servant. This is what we are doing bhakti for. This is the only aim for bhakti. The changing the heart. That's all. We want to change the heart from desire to enjoy. We want to become a subordinate servant of the Lord. So three things. Change of heart means in our thoughts, in our feelings, and in our desires, which is his eternal constitutional position. So, with a gradual progress of devotional service, the reaction of change in the heart is exhibited by gradual detachment from senses of material enjoyment, by false sense of lording it over the world, and an increase in the attitude of rendering loving services to Lord. So what happens? There is a sense of detachment coming because from where the detachment from we are detached from the false sense of lording it over material nature and increase in attitude of rendering loving service to the Lord. Vaidhi Bhakti or regulated devotional service by the limbs of the Lord, namely the eyes, the ears, the nose, hands, legs, are already explained herein before. So all this change in heart means, Array, what is the use of your hands? What is the use of your eyes? What is the use of your tongue and ears? What is the use of your body? What is the use of your head? It is not going down to the Lord. And it's all dead body only. And if your eyes are not getting tears after chanting the holy name of Lord, your heart is like steel frame. So every part of the body is condemned. If it is not connected to Lord, then people, yes, my heart is steel frame, my ears are like this. Then we start engaging them. If we understand that, then our heart changed slowly. And the limbs of the body is now stressed herein in relation to the mind, which is impetus for all activities of limbs of body. So ultimately, it is the heart, the mind, which should be changed. If that is changed, all other things. It is expected by all means that by discharging regulated devotional service, one must maintain the change of heart. See, if there is no such change, the heart must be considered steel framed, for it is not melted even when there is chanting the holy name of Lord. You must always remember that the hearing and chanting are the basic principles of discharging devotional service, and if they are properly performed, there will follow the reactional ecstasy with the signs of tears in the eyes and standing of hairs on the body. These are natural consequences and are the preliminary symptoms of bhava stage, which occurs before one reaches the perfectional stage of prema, love of Godhead. If the reaction does not take place, even after continuous hearing and chanting the holy name of Lord, it must be considered to be due to offenses only. That is the opinion of Sandarbha. In the beginning of chanting of the holy name of a devotee has not been very careful about avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses at the feet of the holy name. Certainly, the reactions of feeling of separation will not be visible by the tears in the eyes and standing of hairs on end. Why we are not getting tears when we are chanting? Because of offenses. The bhava stage is manifested by the 8 transcendental symptoms, namely inertness, perspiration, standing of hairs on end, falling of the voice, failing of the voice, trembling, a plainness of the body, tears in the eyes, and finally trance. The nectar of devotion and summary study of Srila Rupa Goswami Bhakti Rasamrita will explain those symptoms and vividly describe other transcendental developments, both in study and accelerating manifestation. Srila Chakra Thakur has very critically discussed all this bhava displayed in connection with some unscrupulous neophytes imitating the above symptoms with for cheap appreciation. Not only Vishnu Chakra Thakur but also Srila Rupa Goswami have treated them very critically. Sometimes all the above symptoms of ecstasy are imitated by mundane devotees, but the pseudo symptoms are at once detected when one sees the pseudo devotee addicted to so many forbidden things. Even though decorated with the signs of a devotee, a person addicted to smoking, drinking, or illegitimate sex with women cannot have above all the above mentioned ecstatic symptoms. But it is seen that sometimes these symptoms are willfully imitated. And for this reason, Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur accused the imitators of being stone hearted men. They are sometimes even affected by the reflections of the transcendental symptoms, yet if they still do not give up the forbidden habits, then they are hopeless cases for transcendental realization. And then few more, just 2 paras, and then that is done. 2 more paras we'll just cover. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of internet issues, I'm not able to. Now you are able to see the screen. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramanand Rai at Kovur on the bank of Godavari, the Lord developed all these symptoms. But because of the presence of some non-devotee Brahmanas who were attendants of the Rai, the Lord suppressed these symptoms. So sometimes they are not visible even in the body of first-class devotees for certain circumstantial reasons. Therefore, real study bhava is definitely displayed in the matter of cessation of material desires. Shanti, utilization of every time in transcendental loving service of the Lord, avyartha kalakam. So the above symptoms, which are bodily symptoms, that will not be seen all the time. They are external symptoms. But more important that whether the person is at the stage of bhava, how to know if these symptoms are manifested. What is that? First is Shanti, free from all material disease. Avyartha kalakam. He never does any activity not connected to Krishna. All the time Krishna conscious. Eagerness to glorify the Lord. Namakane Sadarachi. Attraction for living in the land of Lord. Preetistad Vasatitale. And Virakti. The complete detachment from material happiness, pridelessness, Manashunyata, and who have developed all these qualities is really possessed. So instead of seeing the symptoms, whether the hairs are standing and then tears are coming, if you want to really know whether this person is a state of bhava, then kshantir avyakta kalatvam namagana sadaruchi pritistat vasatsale viraktiranna mana shunyata. These are the symptoms. They are reliable symptoms. We can say yes, this person is the stage of bhava. He is not having any desire for name, fame, prestige. He is detached from material happiness. He is always eager to stay at Vrindavan. He never wastes time other than Krishna Katha, and he is always no material desires like that. The whole process can be summarized as follows. Now you see the summary. Proper, right? The advanced devotee who chant the holy name of the Lord is a in a perfectly offenseless manner and is friendly to everyone can actually release the transcendental taste of glorifying the Lord. So first thing is no offenses. And the result of this realization is reflected in the cessation of all material desires, etc., as mentioned above. The neophytes, due to their being in the lower stage of devotional service, are invariably envious, so much so that they invent their own ways and means of devotional regulations without following the acharyas. As such, even if they make a show of constantly chanting the holy name of Lord, they cannot release the transcendental taste of the holy name. This is such an important thing. If you create your own process and you are not, even if you are chanting whole day also, you cannot get it. We have to go through the process of acharyas. That's why so many people chant so many mantras in Vrindavan if you go, but they will not get what Rupa Sanatan Goswami or what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. That ecstasy with Radharani, the bhav of Radharani or the gopis cannot be attained by any mantra chanting. You have to chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra only. Or if their acharya, some bona fide acharya who had that bhav he has given, then there is a chance. Otherwise, not possible. Whole day they chant also, they will not get. Therefore, the show of tears in the eyes, trembling perspiration, and unconsciousness is condemned. They can, however, get in touch with a pure devotee of Lord and rectify their bad habits. Otherwise, they shall continue to be stone-hearted and unfit for any treatment. Complete progressive march on the return home, path home back to Godhead will depend on the instructions of the revealed scriptures. So this is the most important thing. Please remember this chapter and this verse. And this is the third canto, sorry, second canto, third chapter, 24th verse, second para. This line you remember all the time. The whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of the living being in the matter of his eternal relationship with the spiritual Lord as a subordinate servant, which is his constitutional position. So this is what is the whole process of spiritual culture is meant to change our heart. So with the progress of devotional service, the reaction of change in heart is exhibited by gradual discharge of detachment from senses of material enjoyment by false sense of lording it over and an increased attitude of rendering loving service. So this is what is to be remembered at the end of this chapter, at the end of at least we should theoretically know this is what I want in life. And the last sloka says, O Sutta Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain thus to us uh, this as to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Sukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who speaks to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. Prabhupada writes, knowledge explained in the previous by the previous acharyas like Sukadeva Goswami and followed by the next, like Sudha Goswami, is always powerful transcendental knowledge. It is therefore penetrating the penetrating and useful to all submissive students. This is very nice point. One line, but nice. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of second canto, third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Pure Devotional Serve the Change of Heart. So I wish have nice Janmashtami consciousness for you. And we will tomorrow we will I'll try to take about relation with Guru in this fourth chapter we'll start. Only today we had only three shlokas because we have some nice but deity worship is very important thing and change of heart. Thank you all very much. Any questions, comments? We'll end here. Hare Krishna. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.